Have you ever needed to make changes to a SolidWorks model fast? Not the clean, start again from scratch way, but the quick, get it done today way? In this video, I'll show you how to take an existing part and convert it into a new version using a few of my favorite speed build tools. It's not necessarily best practice, but when speed matters more than perfection, this approach can save you a lot of effort. I'll show you how we use the rollback bar, split, move body, linear pattern, and combine features to make rapid updates without rebuilding the entire model. A simple, efficient workflow you can use anytime you need results fast. Welcome to Fully Defined. My name's Chris. Let's get into the tutorial. All right, apologies for the audio. The audio from the live stream had some issues. So I'm going to talk over this and explain to you what you can see in this video. So I have this existing part and I did hack it a little bit. Like I didn't model it perfectly. What I did do was model half and then did a pattern feature and then a combine feature, right? So it was quite quick and quite efficient use of time and the modeling tools to get that first part we can see. Now what we're doing with this next part is we're going to convert the first one, the black, to the gray. And you can see that it's got a different number of holes, different number of features, but the angles are pretty much the same. So what we're going to do is trying to do it in the most efficient way possible. Now, it's not set up with perfect linear pattern features. What we're going to do instead is use some split body tools, move copy, and linear pattern feature tools, right, to get to the end result as quickly and cleanly as possible. Now, this is not a best practice video. This is here's some tips and tricks you can use to get a very quick solution video. Now, first thing is to go back into the feature tree for the original part and work out what I need to change. So I need to move from 4 holes to 3. Now, when I do this, I like to roll back in the feature tree so that I'm only dealing with one feature or one sketch at a time, and I don't see a whole range of errors going through the tree. And for something like this, if you've modeled a part months ago, which I may have done for this, and then you come back and edit, you might not always remember exactly how it's built. So it can help you to relearn by going through step by step and seeing what's built in there. And that first step was to adjust a dimension and then change a sketch. In this sketch update here, I actually don't need to do much. I'm deleting the dangling sketch on the right-hand side, and then I'm going to exit the sketch and go into edit the feature. And all I'm doing is reselecting the contours that I'm using for the cut extrude. So I clear the contours, I select the 2 new contours that I want, accept the feature, and then the feature is updated without an error, and I've got the result that I'm after. Now this is just done on one side, but what I will do later is mirror to the other side. So I'm rolling down the features. I roll down the cut extrude that goes all the way through. All right, there's another cut that gets the little join in between the cross shape and the recessed hourglass shape. Then I roll down over the mirror feature, and I can see it's on both sides. And then I have a fillet feature. Now, when I edit the fillet feature, you can see there are dangling selections. Now you can right click and go clear missing references, and it's going to keep all the active references and clear the missing ones. And that's all I need to do, and then accept the feature. And again, that feature is updated, and now it's selected all the edges that I need to. I roll down the last couple of steps, and here you can see the original pattern. I had a sketch with a dimension, which I was using to drive what angle it was. I can, because I'm not going to use that same sketch, I'm going to delete it, but I do have the angle there that I need, as you can see in the linear pattern, the circular pattern feature. So I'm going to edit the circular pattern. I just have to update the reference. Okay, and then I have the second body in the position that I need. So now what we have to do is adjust the size. So I'm going to move that whole body away to the right to the position it needs to go. Now, thankfully, I know how the dimensioning works with the Lego parts, that each segment is 8 millimeters apart. So every slot is 8 millimeters. So what we're going to do here is use the move copy body feature. So I start the feature, I select the body, I select an edge, okay, to give me a direction, because it was at a bit of an angle. I can't use one of the existing planes. And then I can put in the distance. And I want to move 8 millimeters times 4 slots, so 32 millimeters. And then I just put a negative in to reverse the direction. And it's going to move it to where I think the new position will be. Now, to verify this, I'm going to convert an edge for one of these holes and do a linear sketch pattern with that hole with 4 and then 5 instances spaced 8 millimeters apart. And if I've done it correctly, what I'll see is that once that pattern is lined up, the holes match up. The hole pattern matches up, showing that I've done the correct spacing and it would actually work. Now it's a parallel feature that I'm adding to the sketch here. Once that parallel feature is in, and once I change the number of instances to 5, we can see that the 5th hole matches with the original shape. So that's giving me confidence that I've got the right size, the spacing is good, and now I'm going to go through and hack the rest of the CAD to get what I need for the end result. Because obviously it's a move copy body. I can't just use a linear pattern feature to change it or change a configuration. So what we're going to do, we can see that there's a series, or there's a bunch of geometry that we want to replicate. We don't need the curved edge on that right body because we already have a curved edge on the other side. What we need is kind of one hole and one of those hourglass slots, and everything else we can kind of get rid of. So I'm looking here to work out exactly where I'm going to place the sketch. Now the sketch, I'm going to make it concentric to the hole. And where I'm going to split it is on the edge that is closest to the open space. What I can see here is if I want that section to be repeated, so one hole and one hourglass recess, that's what I need to sketch here to split this body in 3 parts, and then use that split section to replicate. So it's a little bit complex, but if you've got the right eye and understanding of your geometry, it becomes a relatively simple task. So I select that top edge and use a convert entities tool to convert the edge. Then I just extend the 2 endpoints out slightly so that they're underdefined. And then I'm going to also convert the corresponding edge at the other end. All right, so we start to see now the section that I'm going to split. Now when I'm doing a split feature, you need to have your sketch going all the way through the body. So I can't just have half a arc. I need to go from end to end. And so that's why I've put this straight line segment in. And I'm going to fully define it as well. So everything's fully controlled. I trim away the section that I don't need, and I add some constraints to make sure it's equal and in line. And then I'm going to do the same at the other end. Now I'm making this line perpendicular to the outside shape. And then I'm adding some relations to make sure that the arcs have exactly the same cut size, because we want it to replicate the detail so that one section, the middle section, joins onto the next. It's going to be seamless, right? Once the 2 bodies are merged, you won't be able to tell. So now I'm going to use the split feature. So I'm going to go and hit split. So I've got my trim tool, which is the sketch. I select the body that I'm going to trim, and then if the split works, it will give me some options for which bodies to select. Now, by selecting the middle body, that's going to split this into 3. It's going to split the other 2 because the middle one is dividing them. And now you can see I've got 3 separate bodies. That first solid body I'm going to hide. I can delete it later. It's the middle solid body here that we want to pattern. Now we could do a move copy body like I did earlier. Move copy feature does have the ability to do multiple copies. So I could do this body, and I could do 4 copies of this body in the same direction, use an edge. This is one way to do it. but this feature is not as strong as the linear feature tool. Linear feature tool is the proper one to use in this kind of situation that we're doing. It does have a few more options to it, not that we need to use them in this specific example. So I'm hitting a linear feature pattern and I'm selecting the body as the element to duplicate to pattern. I'm setting a direction of 8 millimeters and setting my instances. And we can see in the preview how it looks. And then once we accept and press OK, we can see the end result and that looks pretty good. Now to join it all together, I'm going to use the combine tool. And so I hit the combine tool, I turn that to additional. So add bodies together, I select all the bodies, press accept, and then all those split lines that were between those separate bodies have disappeared and this has been merged back to one solid body. All I've got left are the little sections on the ends, and there's a few ways of dealing with those, but my favorite way, if it works, is to use delete face. And I can do that to the right, both sides of the one feature. And then on my very last step, it's just to remove the other body. Now we can either do a delete body or a keep body. We've used a keep body here to keep the one we need. And there we have our new part. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of that tutorial. If you'd like to see more, please check out the other videos I've got in various playlists here on YouTube. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm recording the final parts and then the assembly of this Lego motorcycle you can see here, doing it via live streams on YouTube. If you're keen to join and ask me questions, keep an eye out for when they're scheduled and join me live and interact as I model some of those parts. Otherwise, see you in the next one.